Aliens. Star Citizen has some pretty awesome alien races that exist around the verse, and though players cannot currently meet any of them, we can gain a preliminary understanding of these alien species through the various alien ships available to us. While all of these alien ships look absolutely incredible, a lot of these ships have some glaring issues that make them difficult to recommend to anyone even thinking of purchasing them, especially when many of the non-alien alternatives offer better performance at a much lower price tag. So, in this video, I'll be going over every single alien ship that is currently for sale in the verse, ranking them from best to worst, and offering alternatives along the way. The criteria that I will be using to judge each ship will be pricing, as in how the price compares to alternative ships in a similar role, performance, how the ship performs in its specific role compared to other similar ships, and flair, how the ship looks as well as how rare it is or how difficult it is to purchase. This is the lowest rated of the three categories, but it is important to keep in mind. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing to support me and my channel. Also, feel free to check out my Discord server where we've got a great community of Star Citizens who are very friendly to newer players. Link in the video description. Now then, we've got a lot to cover, so let's jump right into this. The very top ship on this list is the Gatak Rylan. While this selection may surprise many of you, this ship is actually pretty awesome. A current pricing of $225 puts it solidly on the cheaper side of cargo ships, at around half the price of a Hercules, and pretty significantly cheaper than a Caterpillar. With 320 SCU of cargo space, well-armed turrets, missile racks, and twin size 3 shields, the Rylan is an excellent cargo ship in its own right. As a bonus, this ship is absolutely stunning to look at. Unfortunately, it does have some downsides, with the cargo space all residing in the exterior pods, meaning there's no space to carry vehicles or anything else besides cargo. It will also be getting more expensive as it gets closer to release, so this stellar pricing is only a temporary thing. For an alternative, perhaps look at the Hull B, a cost-effective cargo hauler with a very similar cargo capacity. Number 2 on the list is the Esperia Talon. This blisteringly fast fighter may be fragile, but it is one of the nicest ships to fly in the verse, especially in planetary atmosphere. It's super fast and packs a punch, and price-wise comes in at $115, which seems to be the final price. This actually places it quite comfortably close to many other light fighters in price, which is a point in the Talon's favor. It's also a beautiful ship to look at, so it's a great option to consider if you also want to look great while blowing people out of the sky. It does have some flaws, however, such as the aforementioned fragility. If your wing gets damaged, it becomes nearly unflyable. It's also agonizingly slow to get inside the ship, and isn't nearly as versatile as some of the other light fighters. Consider the Gladius or the Arrow as very reasonable, if less stylish alternatives. This might surprise people, but coming in third on the list is the ever-popular Banu Merchantman. You may be surprised that it's coming in this low, and while I believe the Merchantman is an incredible ship, it definitely has some flaws that we can talk about. 3,000 SCU of cargo space, bigger than an 890 jump, and at currently less than $600 does seem like a pretty amazing deal, and to be honest, it definitely is. However, the latest size increase that we've seen has made the Merchantman significantly less convenient to land at stations and planetary landing zones, and may now require a decent number of hands to properly crew. Also, the $550 plus price tag does put it out of reach of a lot of people, and it will likely be getting even more expensive very soon. The trading gameplay loop that the Merchantman offers also has some issues, as there doesn't currently appear to be much focus on making it functional, and there's only one other ship that can do trading in the game, the Kraken Privateer, which is, lots bigger. Number 4 on our list is the Banu Defender. At $220, it's pretty expensive for a light fighter, and is both much larger and less agile than other fighters of the same class. However, it does carry a single size 2 shield, and has an absurd amount of quantum and hydrogen fuel for a light fighter, making its effective range much, much higher than other ships in this class. It's also very characterful, as everyone loves the crab vibe. It also comes with 2 beds on the inside, and room to carry some delivery boxes as well. So, with the Defender, if you're looking for something that is more effective in combat, I'd still recommend a Gladius, but if you're just doing PvE, delivering boxes on the side, and hate having to refuel, it's a great, if somewhat expensive option. Number 5 is the first and only ground vehicle on the list, the Oppo Knox. Stunning to look at, extremely fast, it's kind of hard to hate a hoverbike. Unfortunately for the Knox, it simply comes down to having great competition in its role. The Drake Dragonfly comes in at $5 cheaper for almost identical performance, but with an extra seat. The CNOU Hover Quad is also much less expensive and more convenient to fit inside other vehicles for transportation, and has some storage space as well. Next up is the Talon Shrike. Visually, it's pretty identical to the Talon, but it carries much smaller guns and more missiles instead. Unfortunately for the Shrike, in the current state of the game, missiles are much less reliable than raw firepower, as they have a tendency to miss or do stupid things, making them extremely unreliable. And since the default guns are much smaller than the basic Talon, if you run out of missiles, you can't really do much anymore. This flaw unfortunately places the Shrike down in the lower tiers of alien ships, as something you probably shouldn't buy unless you just love the looks. Time for the Alpoa Cartouall, a ship that flies extremely well, but apart from that, isn't very useful. It looks really damn cool, and is a joy to fly, but it's a really big target with subpar weaponry, which makes it a fairly disappointing fighter. The $170 price tag also puts this ship's cost way above the much better Talon, so it's not something I can really recommend. If you do want something that's similarly quirky though, maybe check out the Misk Reliant. Next up is the other Apoa fighter, the Santokiai. The $220 price tag for a single-person fighter is pretty steep, and the weapon hardpoints just aren't that great. If you want a powerful fighter around the same price range, snag a Hurricane or a Scorpius instead. They outclass the Santokiai pretty hard. Or for a single-person fighter, a Gladius, Hornet, or Arrow are just better and much cheaper options. Bringing up the top of the bottom 3 is the Esperia Blade. The Blade is fast, agile, surprisingly small, and stunning to look at. Performance-wise, it actually compares quite well to other light fighters like the Gladius. Unfortunately, the $275 price tag, combined with the complete lack of the option to customize your weapon hardpoints, make the Blade something only a madman or a serious collector would consider purchasing. It's so extremely overpriced, providing no additional performance for the cost, that even the awesome looks can't justify costing 3 times as much as its closest competitor performance-wise, the Gladius. Second to the bottom is the Glaive. This incredibly rare ship is unbelievably pretty to look at. The red paint and swords sticking out the front, it's so cool. It looks so menacing, and definitely is a head-turner. Unfortunately, it's absolutely massive, flies very sluggishly, has a non-customizable weapons loadout, and costs a whopping $350. Add to this the scarcity of the ship, as it's not often sold, making it something you will only likely find on the gray market. Just buy a Scorpius instead. And now here we are, the absolute bottom of the ladder. The worst alien ship to buy is the Prowler. Now, before you pull out your pitchforks and start a crusade against me, let me prove it. The ship is $440. That's more expensive than a 600i Touring or a Reclaimer, and almost the same price as a Hull D. So it's extremely overpriced. It's also very much outperformed in its role as a dropship by the $375 Valkyrie, not to mention the Cutlass Steel, the Hercules C2, the Redeemer, and even the Legionnaire, all of which are much cheaper. So, while it is definitely stunning to look at, both inside and out, all of these major issues combine to make the Esperia Prowler by far the worst alien ship to purchase. So, there's all the alien ships currently available for purchase in Star Citizen, and if I'd recommend them for you to purchase based on their current standing in the game. Keep in mind that Alien Week is very soon, so there may be some new alien ships releasing, which will not be included in this video. These rankings are also very subject to change as the game updates and ship concepts change along with it. But these are just my opinions. Feel free to let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like so I know to make more videos like this in the future. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider joining the channel membership for early access to videos and special perks in livestream chats. Also, feel free to check out my Discord server where we've got a great community of Star Citizens. Link in the video description. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the verse.